Is smoking weed safer than smoking alcohol? Drinking alcohol. We discuss survey results from a study held by American Psychiatric Association.
Will Theo Joe Biden finally make good on his promise to deschedule cannabis?
In Miami news, we got our own dialect now, and we discuss the Cuban American influence on our speech patterns.
We interview Lauren Mundell, who is founder of High Curious, a cannabis content marketplace. She talks to us about the industry bullshit and how creators can benefit from joining her platform.
Listen to our voice be funny on today's show. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sunny D.
And I'm Captain J.
And we're the Pot Smoking Moms. Hey, if you like the show, do us a solid and rate, subscribe, share, and just be friends with us on all our social media. PotSmokingMoms.com is the website. We have everything there, including any events that you may want to meet us up at.
And we're pretty much at Pot Smoking Moms on most of our social platforms.
Exactly.
So check us out.
If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe, hit that like,
make a comment,
shake your butt.
Tell us what you're about to smoke with us now, because we're about to start our smoke sesh.
Let's do it.
I got doggy bag. The doggy bag.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right,
well,
so
we don't have. I've never had this before. This is
me
cookies.
either. This is new.
So let's tell us all about that.
Well, I got this on my trip to Vegas, and when I went, I only had intended to just buy pre-rolls, but I decided when I saw this, I just had to give it a try.
Yeah, come on.
So it's called Doggy Bag. So obviously, it looks like the Snoop Dogg cover from Doggy Style. And it's also known as the Dog Bag. It's created through crossing the potent Project 4516 with Skittles 18 strains, also known as Snoop's Breakfast for Champs. Doggy Bag packs a soothing yet lifted high that will have you relaxed and ready to take on your day with ease. The high starts almost as soon as you exhale, filling your brain with an expansive happiness that's tingling yet energizing. As your mind is stimulated, your body will begin to settle into a calming state of relaxation that has you feeling kicked back and without any aches or pains to speak of. Kick back, relax. Doggy Bag is often chosen to treat a variety of conditions, including chronic fatigue, inflammation, depression, chronic stress, chronic pain, and the symptoms of cancer. This bud has a sweet and flowery rose candy flavor with a spicy diesel exhale. The aroma is very similar, with a spicy really diesel overtone, accented by flowery chemicals and a punch of heavy gas. Yes, it is definitely very loud.
It's gassy. It's got a very nice lemony smell though to it. It has like a clean, like I said it was a little reminiscent of vitamin-y smell because it has that minerally, like lemony.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Smells good though. I am smoking Chem Driver from our friends over at Miami High Life. Chem Driver is an evenly balanced hybrid created by crossing two farm strains, Chem Dog D and Sunday Driver. I've had both of those separately. It's known for its mellow effects, making it a perfect treat to enjoy during the day. According to users who've dabbed Chem Driver, the strain offers a mix of euphoria and relaxation. Its effects start creeping in. Smokers almost immediately with an increase of energy levels and creativity boost. As the stage goes, the weed settles into a sedative state, bringing relaxation to the whole body. But unlike many other sedative cannabis strains, it doesn't cloud the mind. So those who need it to smoke in order to stay focused will remain productive and focused on the task at hand. Given the potency of the strain, it comes as no surprise that it's found plenty of medical uses. To specify, when consumed in the right amounts, it can help with treating conditions such as sleep disorder, muscle spasms, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, stress, depression, and different pains.
Nice.
I twisted myself up a little J.
Me too, as well.
Cheers. If you got them at home, smoke it up and let us know. Smoke one with us and let us know what you're smoking. We love to hear if there's any, standout strains that you found.
Or if you've tried these strains yourself, tell us what you think about it. Have you tried Dog Bag or have you tried, what is it, Chem D is yours? So we're gonna try something new, or we're gonna start rating. We're smoking during our smoke sessions, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a 1 to 5 rating system. We're gonna do ratings on aroma, taste, and initial effects. And then later in the show, we'll give it a new rating, another rating based on the long-term effects or the
Right.
extended effects after we've, a little while after smoking.
So I like to say that I've had this out of glassware, and I enjoy this out of glassware more than like a joint because you get to taste.
Taste it better.
Yeah,
Agreed.
you get to
Same.
taste a little bit more of the diesel-y flavor. It's like a different experience. But I would say for Cam Driver, I was pleasantly surprised. The aroma of the bud, to me, it also has like a clean smell. It's like a diesel-y floral scent. For aroma, I would give it a 3. The taste, I would also give it a 3 for taste.
And initial effects, like when your first couple hits.
And it's smooth. So I'd say initial effects, I would give it a 4.
For me, aroma, I think this smells amazing. Like it's like, there's certain weeds that when you smell it.
Oh yeah, and
you're
you're
gonna
in
like
your brain, right?
Yeah. So for me, I would say, I don't know, 4 and a half, maybe.
All right.
Smells great. Like I can smell this. It definitely has gassy, lemony smell to it.
I love that.
I also have already tried this before out of glass, and it does taste much better out of like my glassware, like you said. And I would give it like a 3 to 4, 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
All right.
For the taste. And initial effects, I give it a 4 because it does the job like right off the bat. It's hard for me to give a full 5 to anything.
I mean, you can't just.
This is our first time.
Away.
We're not just gonna be giving 5s to everything.
We're not just gonna slap a 5 on it.
So I was saying what 4.5, 4.5, 5. Oh no, I would just give it a rating 4.5 across.
All right. I said 3, 3, 4. I'll say 3.5. 3.5 nugs.
Awesome. So what's up? How are things been going in your world?
Oh God, I hate everything as per usual. I hate everyone. So many crappy things happening, and you're kind of sometimes at the mercy of others, and people don't care.
You do have a lot going on.
I've got a full plate at home. I'm reeling the effects of the flood, and I'm trying to get the money so we could, fix all the things that are broken, so that more things don't get broken. And it's just like being an adult is a fucking pain in the dick because you just kind of see things for what they really are, and everything's a scam. I've said it before, you guys are like the old complainy bitch, but I mean, like, for real, the veil has been lifted as adults, and now it's like we see how much bullshit there is, and it's hard to know all this fucked up shit is happening and just be like, tra la 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 la. So, with the insurance stuff, it's like a fucking scam. I always think that, all of this is a goddamn scam because you pay into it. They'll do anything and everything to not pay you when some shit goes down. And, it's just when you need it. And then it's like, oh, it's just so obnoxious, but I'm really hoping it seems like they're finally getting to a place where we'll find out what's coming to us. The only thing is like, I hope I have a number in my head and I'm like, these bitches better give me that number. They better like give me at least that much because of all the damage.
Okay, I thought you meant like costs, like what's gonna
No.
be, but you're talking about what the
I'm talking
insurance
about what the insurance
yeah, they
gonna
better give
us.
you a good number.
Yeah, and I hate to have to get a public adjuster involved, because as soon as this happened, girl, everybody was like, I know a public adjuster and I know a public adjuster, which
We
I
use the
think
public adjuster.
is a fucking, also to me, that's a fucking scam too, because it's like, oh, well, what? I can't just do the honorable thing and go through normal processes to get what I should be getting, because it's all part of what I'm supposed to get.
Luckily, we
So
had a
now-
friend that was a public adjuster and just did it for us as a favor.
Oh, that's really nice. But like these days, nobody's doing any favors for anyone. And then they take a cut from that, which, like, I get that they have to get paid, but why do we need them? Like, it's just everything. You always need to pay for something to get something else. And it's just,
everything's a scam.
Everything is just, yes. And so that's where I'm at. But I'm trying to like be happy about, like, getting new stuff, because I just feel like all my shit's broken down and old, and I'm just like, can I just get something new? Please, God, can you just...
Well, I hope they give you a number that works so you can fix everything
Yes.
and fix your bathroom too.
Yes.
And do all the things.
And do all the things and be happy or comfortable, anyways.
Well, I had a pretty crazy week. I went to Vegas for work.
I know. I've been dying to find out about it, but I can't because it's content for the podcast. So here we are. Let's hear it. I want to know everything that happened.
Like, I don't want to say everything twice. I'm like, bitch, I'm just going to say it.
I know. And I'm like, come on, I want to know. We're friends outside the podcast. But anyways.
I had a headache.
I know.
It's finally gone.
Yes.
It's working.
Yay.
So yeah, no, I went to Vegas for a conference, which, like, I'm like, oh man, I have to go, but
work, because it's like work stuff still.
Yeah, it's work. It's still interesting, and it's like an interesting version of work. Instead of having to be in the office or dealing with the daily bullshit, I'm trying to do that on my phone while at a conference. And do other things. But it's a really good conference, and what was really cool about it is they had one night of entertainment where they had Janet Jackson.
Oh my God, I know. And I was like, when I left here after we talked about it, I was like listening to Janet Jackson songs on my way home, and I was just like, oh, this one's great. Woo!
Let me tell you, she looks amazing. She still sounds great. I mean, I'm pretty sure she was
pictures
singing.
You show me, she looks fantastic.
Yeah, I took some little videos. We'll share a couple pictures here with you guys. And it was just a really good show. And let me tell you, she did not hold back the sexy because it was a bunch of HR professionals. I was like, let's see how sexy she gets. Obviously, she's, almost 60 years old now. So she was very modest in her clothes in the sense that she was covered.
Right.
But she had form-fitting clothes. And of course, the dance moves with the male dancers were still very sexy.
Yeah.
They're grabbing her breasts.
What songs did she sing? I mean, I know you don't remember her set, but like what did she have? Like, what did she sing?
She basically did most of her hits. I'm not good at song names. Don't ask me to remember.
Okay,
all the song
hum one.
names
Which one did you like the most? She has so many good ones. That's the thing.
Of course.
Oh, I love that one.
I Get So Lonely. Like I don't remember the names, but like she pretty much most of her hits, she hit them. And then so the guys were like really sexy. She made out with one of the dancers and everything. I was like, is she really dating that dancer, or is this just like part of the thing? Is like, could this be sexual harassment? But just HR professional.
Oh no. They're like analyzing that.
Like part of the job interview for the dancers are like, are you okay with grabbing Janet Jackson's breasts and crotch and making out with her?
Yeah. And they're like, yeah,
of course.
Absolutely. And I get paid. Okay.
So that was like the best part of the conference, was that show. It was really cool. So since it is a legal state, of course, I was like, I'm not going to like take weed. I took one day.
This time you didn't have to talk to someone who worked at Popeyes to get weed. You could just
at the last conference, I saw somebody smoking a blunt outside of Popeyes, and I just asked them where to get weed. This time I was able to legally buy it somewhere. So I went to Cookies because it was like one of the closest dispensaries. Just took a taxi there, and that I ended up getting like I wanted to just get a couple pre-rolls to make it easy, so I could just smoke easy, no problem. But then I was like, man, I really want whole flower. So I ended up getting these 2 packs of
Because when you get pre-rolls, you don't have the opportunity to like look at the bud and smell the
Exactly,
bud. And it's
exactly.
like a thing. Like pre-rolls are fun because they're easy to grab and go, but you really
Exactly.
want to experience it, especially because you never had cookies. It's the Snoop Dogg
And I never had
weed.
like recreational weed where it comes
Yeah.
in fun packaging and like all that stuff,
Uh-huh.
you know? Everything's always been so medicinal.
Sterile, yeah.
Comes in like a standard pack that doesn't have any pretty marketing on it. Just, you know, everything's sealed. Everything's sealed there too. You don't see it
Right.
beforehand, but
Which I
you
wish
know,
I
it
could
is.
smell it before I
Yeah.
buy it.
Yeah. I mean, they had those little things where you could see the nugs and then like smell it through the thing.
Okay.
The store was nice. It was a nice little store. There wasn't many people in there when I got one in there. The guy that helped me was really nice. I can't remember his name, but he followed us on Instagram and I followed him back.
Nice.
I was like so annoyed that I forgot to bring stickers
Oh,
and I didn't put
yeah.
stickers there. But he recommended for the pre-rolls these little, I think they were called stinks. I don't know.
Sticks or something?
Stints. STIINX, I think.
Uh-huh.
And they're like these little tiny fancy pre-rolls that have like
Keef on
live
them,
resin
right?
in the inside. Like there's a core of live resin,
Yeah.
then the whole flower, and then it has covered in keef.
Oh, yes. I wish
Yeah.
they did stuff like that here, but we can't. I don't think
exactly.
we can.
There's not all that
Yeah.
crazy fancy stuff. That's why I was very excited to try it.
Ah.
What I did, I enjoyed them. They definitely did the job. They're really small, so I could just, it was perfect because it was just like when I had time to go smoke, I could smoke the whole thing.
Mhm.
It was just enough. The only thing I didn't like is that they reinfuse it with terpenes. So it has like flavors to it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like the watermelon one had like a watermelon flavor to it. And like I don't like that. I like to taste like regular weed. Like I don't like to have like, you know, when you buy
designer
vapes
shit.
that have flavored
taste.
smokes or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that I was like, because I could kind of taste that. But other than that, it was great.
Oh, okay.
And then this has been good so far.
Yeah. Smells great.
But the hotel I was staying in, and this thing is that they don't have any hotels yet or places that have consumption lounges that I could tell.
Yeah.
But I just smoked outside the hotel where everybody was smoking their cigarettes, and I didn't have a problem, except for one time a guy asked me if he could have a hit.
Which is like, fucker, it's available everywhere. Go buy one. But you're nice.
I am. I gave him the end of my J. I'm like, here you go. I was pretty much done.
Yeah, here. Now the rest of this guy. Fucking get out of my face.
And then I get arrested. It's a cop for giving away weed.
Terrible.
No, it was fun. It really made me think about how much fun we would have there with our patrons.
Yes, I've always wanted to go to Vegas. I actually was talking about moving there recently because I'm fed up with Florida.
Let's move to
We should
Nevada.
we could have a segment called "Fed Up with Florida," and we just talk shit about all the things we hate about Florida. But yeah, cost of living here is outrageous, and trying to find a
Insurance.
job too. Looking at what people are paying,
Yeah.
it's pathetic, you guys.
The wages are garbage.
It's pathetic. So yeah, I was talking about moving to Vegas. We should probably visit before we move. So, you know, we should talk about that.
One
maybe
of our
in the
patrons
future.
wants to go for her 40th birthday.
Yeah,
We
and
should
I'm
go.
down. We're down. Oh, show.
Yeah, that place is a wonderland, like adult. It's like an adult theme park.
I know, but I feel like
I want to eat shrooms and play.
Right. In the center. You live in the suburbs and you go into that area to play. But I don't know. It feels like it could be a little
Vegas, like
pretentious
there,
and
yeah.
stuff too.
It's totally
lends
different
itself.
outside of the city.
Yeah. But anywho, hey, if you guys are watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, watch us on YouTube and subscribe.
Yeah,
we would
don't
love
you
that.
want to see our beautiful faces?
Yeah, that would tickle our fancy. So please hit the like, hit subscribe over on YouTube.
Yeah, do all those things. And before we proceed, we just want to give a little shout out to our patrons. Say thank you very much. We love you guys. We do this because of you guys. And we want more patrons to be joining our awesome community.
So many perks.
Yeah. We have such a great time in the Discord and on the vacations and things. We have one coming up. We're going to be doing the boats, bitches, and blunts.
I just like when you say it.
Boats, bitches, and blunts. Yeah, I want to get those rose blunts so we can roll a bunch of rose blunts.
Yes.
And we're going to cruise through Miami and go to the sandbar and do all that. Those
and
things.
have a smashing good time, darling. It's going to be fantabulous. Please join us. And if not, Patreon. Join us on Patreon, and you too could have I don't know, a nice relaxing afternoon with pot smoking moms. Hey, if you cannot do the Patreon thing right now, because we know times are tough, monetarily, you can just support us by doing what you're doing right now and listening to us and talking about us to your friends,
making a comment on the show, making
Yeah.
sure you like it, share it. All those little things really help us
Rate us
engage
on-
with all of the posts that we make on social media. That is helpful.
Yes, and listen, we're getting ready to get new stickers. We could send some merch out, some stickers to your way. So hit us up, and we like that.
So I think we're ready for our first segment now.
All right, let's
Let's
do
go.
it.
All right, so this is an interesting story. I mean, we all fucking know this already.
Yeah,
I
we've
think, right?
talked about this kind of sort of.
I think we already know this ourselves just through experiences and stuff. But Americans say cannabis is safer than alcohol and cigarettes and less addictive than technology. I gotta agree with that. So it's less dangerous than opioids, alcohol, cigarettes, according to a new survey conducted by the American Psychiatric Association, APA, and Morning Consult last week. The survey results come from interviews with 2,201 adults conducted between April 20th and April 22nd of 2023.
Well, nice timing.
How appropriate.
There, guys.
With a plus minus 2 percentage point margin of error, analyzing public opinion on the dangers and addictiveness of 6 different substances and technology. Regarding cannabis, 38% said that it is very or somewhat unsafe. Comparatively, 84% of respondents said they regarded cigarettes as unsafe. Yeah, I think most people agree with that. 64% believe alcohol to be unsafe. 66% found prescription opioids unsafe, and 75% found non-prescription opioids. I can't say opioids.
Gotta open the mouth real wide.
Opioids unsafe. Reminding us of the negative public perception of vapes. 76% responded that vapes are unsafe.
Yeah.
While technology will lose in other categories, here's where we unintentionally, ironically, tell you to keep scrolling on your screen to find out. You don't have to be scrolling here. We're reading it to you. People said that technology was safer than cannabis, with only 23% described as very or somewhat unsafe, making it the only category deemed safer than marijuana.
All right.
So everybody thinks everything is safer than
marijuana is
other
safer
than technology.
Right. Technology is safer. It doesn't have a direct.
I don't think technology is safer.
Yeah, I feel like technology has a deeper kind of like.
I think it's very dangerous.
Yeah, me too. The survey also analyzed the public's perception of addiction. In that category, they perceive cannabis to be less addictive than all the substances mentioned, in addition to technology. 64% said that cannabis can be addictive. 87% said cigarettes are addictive. Are we repeating all of this? All these?
No, now they're saying addictive.
Okay, so
I think before it was unsafe.
So now it's addictive.
Yeah.
Okay, so 64% said that cannabis can be addictive. 87 say cigarettes are. 84 deem alcohol addictive. Prescribed opioids are considered 83%. A figure that drops to 74% for non-prescribed opioids.
Why would that drop? I would think that would be just as high, if not more.
And 81% think vapes are addictive, and 75% find technology addictive. So that's... We all agree that all of those things are
that
addictive.
feels more in line what we were thinking before, but we didn't realize they were measuring unsafe.
Right.
But unsafe, I actually think technology is higher as unsafe because of other things other than addiction. I wasn't thinking in
they got there are all kinds of things.
Yeah,
you can have access
online.
to everything, right? It's clear that we have gotten the message through that cigarettes are dangerous and addictive, APA President Petros Lovini said in a press release. We can help prevent more Americans from other potentially addictive behaviors like drinking alcohol and technology use. For instance, vaping is just as, if not more addictive than cigarettes or smoking. However, even though science agrees.
Oh, that's me, girl.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna keep going.
You could just keep going. However, even though science agrees that addiction is a medical condition, check out this study published in the Journal of Psychiatry and Neuroscience. I guess they linked it. 47% said that addiction results from personal weakness, which gives us insight into the stigma surrounding substance use disorders. While cannabis is generally not considered physically addictive, remember that other substances the survey covers, such as opioids, are highly addictive due to how they affect the brain, research confirms. If someone is prescribed opioids after sustaining injuries in an automobile accident, for instance, and they develop an addiction, it's scientifically proven to be due to changes in the brain rather than a lackluster set of morals. Very true. There's a lot of people that have gotten addicted to the painkillers they've been prescribed after like a major surgery or an accident or something that happened. However, Levo Unis says is that a name? Levo Unis says the survey can be helpful by offering insight into how to educate the public best. We can also make sure that people know about our current safe and effective treatments for both substance use disorders and behavioral addictions, he says. Addiction treatment works.
And the numbers are higher for those with less regressive views regarding the cause of addiction. 76% of respondents answered that addiction is a medical condition, and 93% of those polled said substance use disorders can be treated, with 76% responding that the condition is preventable. Survey also offers insight into the importance of increasing awareness regarding naloxone, a life-saving opioid anti-overdose drug. Only 58% said they were aware of naloxone.
Naloxone, yeah. I think that's right.
And only 35% said they know how to access it if they needed it for an overdose. Naloxone can reverse an overdose, but only if used 30 to 90 minutes after the incident is discovered. As a result, it is something everyone should have on hand rather than search for when discovering an overdose. Right, and I know cops also carry that
like
around
EMTs
too and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When they find people might be doing that, having that. Considering that the study found that 71% of Americans say they know how to help someone in their life who's struggling with addiction, it's clear that one of the biggest takeaways from the research is the importance of naloxone awareness.
So based on the research, apparently they just noticed that nobody knows about this life-saving naloxone.
Right. I don't think that it's privy to information to everyone, because not everybody is really interested in knowing what the statistics are. Not a lot of people know about the opioid crisis or are very well versed in it,
or like know people that have problems with it, or around people having overdoses.
Yeah,
I've seen not in that environment.
Yeah, I've seen news reports. I don't know, what's some sort of documentary where they were like with a cop. They were like following a cop because of the use of opioid use had shot up, and people were overdosing a lot. And these people captured like 3 overdoses while riding with that one cop that one day.
Yeah.
And they were like doing that. They were injecting people with that
drug
at the site. Yeah. So sad, but like, yeah, I mean, if that's, everybody needs to know that it exists just to prevent those kinds of scenarios,
Yeah.
The more you know.
I think we know that opioids are definitely the more addictive, and alcohol is very addictive as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, feds aim to finish cannabis scheduling review this year. Top Biden officials tell Marijuana Moment.
Hallelujah. Praise Jesus.
I'm not entirely sure what that means, because that means just the review will be done this year.
Right. I don't know. It's a bunch of pussyfooting. I think it's a bunch of pussyfooting. It's like me trying to get the insurance people to tell me when the hell I'm going to get my money.
We're just reviewing now.
It's in review. It's in review. Can I talk to a supervisor? No, because it's in review. So.
Let's see what they say here. So the head of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is aiming to present President Joe Biden with a federal cannabis scheduling decision this year, as agencies work as quickly as we can to complete an administrative review. Secretary Xavier Becerra told Marijuana Moment during a press briefing in Sacramento on Thursday. While Becerra and other federal officials have previously emphasized that they are working expeditiously, did they say that right? Expeditiously to carry out the cannabis review that the president directed last year. Yeah, remember when he was like, "Oh, we're gonna pardon all the minor things and we go do a review and blah 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 blah." There's been a lack of clarity about the specific timeline. Now the secretary has disclosed when he hopes to deliver on the president's directive. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, under HHS
Greg. Sorry.
HHS is carrying out an 8-step scientific review into marijuana to determine whether it should be rescheduled, descheduled, or remain in Schedule 1, which is reserved for the most strictly controlled drugs under the Controlled Substances Act.
What I can tell you is that this is not me. What I can tell you is that the president instructed us at HHS FDA in particular to take a look at how we treat marijuana to see if we can update our review of marijuana as a drug and how we can make sure we're going to treat it going forward on the federal level. Becerra told the Marijuana Moment. Places like California have already changed the laws. The federal government has not. And so we've been instructed and we're underway with that review as we speak. He said that HHS, along with other agencies like the Drug Enforcement Administration, are working together to try to see if we could give the president an answer that's based on the science and the evidence. Stay tuned. We hope to be able to get there pretty soon, hopefully this year. It's not a definitive deadline, but it is the clearest timetable offered by yet a top federal official, providing new insight into what the secretary thinks may be achievable within the next 6 months.
Stay tuned. Sorry.
I mean, I feel like it's always stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Once HHS finalizes its review, it will send a scheduling recommendation to the DEA, which makes the final call. The health agency's scientific findings are binding, but DEA could theoretically flout this resulting recommendation.
What? Whatever.
DEA. Don't be such narcs.
Yeah.
I think the extended effects.
Oh yeah, are we recording those extended effects here now? That doggy bag.
Doggy bag, bro. Okay. As Becerra was on his way out from Thursday's presser, which focused on food science innovation at the University of California, Davis Health Sacramento campus,
What? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the camera. I'm not trying to like. Am I making too many faces?
I don't know. Marijuana Moment asked for his thinking on another drug policy, psychedelics.
Ooh.
Yeah. The secretary said he needed to defer to the expertise of the National Institute of Drug
slow
Abuse.
down.
He's like, chill, bro.
Hey, we're trying to do marijuana
one at
first,
a time
bro.
here. One at a time. Which also falls under HHS, because I want to make sure that I touch base with that, what they've been doing on that. But as I said, we are working to try to get out there as quickly as we can on marijuana.
Oh yeah, because it's about fucking time, my friends.
We've been waiting forever.
Yeah. When it comes to marijuana, lawmakers, including Congressional Cannabis Caucus co-chair Barbara Lee and members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus have joined advocates. I love that word, caucus. Have joined advocates in urging the Biden administration to expedite the scheduling review process as legislators work to advance more incremental measures like marijuana banking reform. In order for the Biden administration to accomplish its stated goals, ranging from restoring integrity of law, addressing racial equity, and a laundry list of other priorities, the descheduling of marijuana must be...
I didn't know where you were.
Central. Justin Streckel, founder of the Bull Pack. Remember we talked about these guys? The Bull Pack.
Very clever name, Bull Pack.
I feel like anybody in this industry finds a way. The stoners always find a way to bring it back to like, Bull Pack. What was the other one we read earlier today? It was just like, how can you not? Like, tip 420.
Oh yeah, they did it.
I don't know. There are very few issues as deeply ingrained to self-inflicted problems. Sorry, problems. We as a nation face like prohibition, and Secretary Becerra, Attorney General Garland, and President Biden have a unique opportunity to bring fairness and sanity by addressing this correctly and quickly, he said. I don't know how quick good old Buddy Joe is gonna fucking act because
Theo Joe Biden.
bro, man, Theo Joe Biden, this shit ain't new. We've been sitting on this
He's
since he got
80
it.
years old.
Yeah, we were looking up his
As
age.
quick as an 80-year-old.
As quick as an 80-year-old, which is like not quick at all. And why do we have an 80-year-old as a president? Like, we barely want them packing our groceries at Publix. Why do we need them in charge of the whole country?
Because it was either the 80-year-old or
yeah,
the,
no, I mean,
or the
obviously,
criminal.
as a Hail Mary, I get it, bro.
Sexual.
But we should have more options. You don't think we should have more fucking options?
Yes, obviously.
Like, let's not get into this, but can we though for a second? No. Back to the article. Becerra, for his part, is keenly aware of the significant public interest in his department's work to complete the scheduling review, as stated by us. We said in March that we are trying to work quickly, but we still have a few hoops we need to jump through.
Always fucking hoops.
Always.
It's got to go through a number of hoops. And
hoops.
again, safety and efficiency are what will drive efficacy. What will drive the determination. So just stay tuned. Again, stay tuned. The secretary, who has been known to play into the symbolism of 420 on Twitter, said, "Oh, are they trying to say something might be announced on the next 420?" More than a dozen bipartisan congressional lawmakers sent a letter, Becerra and U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland in March, demanding transparency in the cannabis scheduling review. The letter said that Biden's scheduling directive represents an opportunity to make an honest assessment of the origins and implications of federal policy, adding that marijuana was scheduled based on stigma, not on science, and it's time to address marijuana's existing reality as a state-regulated substance. Separately, Garland said at a Senate hearing in March that DOJ is still working on a marijuana policy while awaiting the results of the scientific review from health agencies. Just get the ball rolling already.
Hey, pero you know what?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
No, we've been staying tuned for a really long time.
We have come a long way, though.
Yeah, we have.
The fact that it's even finally being done.
I know, but like the United States of America, but where are we united? Everybody has different laws for everything. Like, all of us want weed. I mean, that's not, it's overwhelming a majority of the population.
Want weed.
I would say.
If weed ran for president.
Yeah. Oh my God. If weed ran for president, we'd all be voting for that guy. Can you imagine? A nug?
It would be a woman.
Yeah, obviously.
It's a flower.
Yeah.
It's female.
Hey, if you are not subscribed to us at this point, what are you waiting for, man?
Go and subscribe.
Go and subscribe and listen to this next segment that we love.
I love you, Miami!
All right. So this week's I Love You, Miami, we talk about a new English dialect that is emerging in South Florida, linguists say.
Did you see this coming?
Because of our
I
lovely...
saw this coming.
I mean, we hear it all the time down here.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you sound like Miami and stuff. This is all that. So like examples are, we got down from the car and went inside.
Which I think is a normal way to say it. We got down from the car and went inside.
It's we got out of the car.
We got out of the car, but who says we got out of the car? You get down. You step down.
You get down.
Whatever.
Down.
But that makes sense to me. I made the line to pay for groceries. That one makes I feel like that's normal too.
He made a party to celebrate his son's birthday.
That was weird. I don't know about he made a party. He threw a party. I'm not sure about he made a party, but I could understand why Hialeah people or Cuban Americans would say it that way.
Because they're basically translating it from Spanish into English. So these phrases might sound off to the ears of most English-speaking Americans. In Miami, however, they've become part of the local parlance. According to my recently published research, these expressions, along with a host of others, form part of a new dialect taking shape in South Florida. This language variety came about through sustained contact between Spanish and English speakers, particularly when speakers translated directly from Spanish.
When French collided with English, whether you're an English speaker living in Miami or elsewhere, chances are you don't know where the words you know and use come from. You're probably aware that a limited number of words, usually foods such as sriracha or croissant, are borrowed from other languages. But borrowed words are far more pervasive than you might think. They're all over English vocabulary. Pajamas from Hindi, gazelle from Arabic, via
Right,
French, and tsunami from Japanese. Borrowed words usually come from the minds and mouths of bilingual speakers who end up moving between different cultures and places. This can happen when certain events, war, colonialism, political exile, immigration, and climate change, put speakers of different language groups into contact with one another. When the contact takes place over an extended period of time, decades, generations, or longer, the structures of the languages in question may begin to influence one another, and the speakers can begin to share each other's vocabulary.
One bilingual confluence famously changed the trajectory of the English language. In 1066, the Norman French, led by William the Conqueror.
That's a long time ago.
That is a long fucking time.
1066, coño. I thought that was a tax return. 1066.
Led by William the Conqueror, invaded England in an event known as the Norman Conquest. Soon thereafter, a French-speaking ruling class replaced the English-speaking aristocracy. Oh, did I say that right? Aristocracy. And for roughly 200
We're from Miami,
years,
bro. What can you expect?
We have our own dialect here. And for roughly 200 years, the elites of England, including the kings, did their business in French. English never really caught on with the aristocracy.
Aristocracy.
But since servants and the middle classes needed to communicate with aristocrats and with people of different classes intermarrying, French words trickled down the class hierarchy and into the language. During this period, more than 10,000 loanwords from French entered the English language, mostly in domains where the aristocrats held sway: the arts, military, medicine, law, and religion. Words that seem basic, even fundamental to English vocabulary, were just 800 years ago borrowed from French. Prince, government, administer, liberty, court, prayer, judge, justice, literature, music, poetry, to name just a few.
Oh,
very interesting.
Spanish meets English in Miami.
Oh, yeah. From all sorts of Spanish cultures.
Yes. Fast forward to today, where a similar form of language contact involving Spanish and English has been going on in Miami since the end of the Cuban Revolution in 1959. In the years following the revolution, hundreds of thousands of Cubans left the island nation for South Florida, setting the stage for what would become one of the most important linguistic convergences in all of the Americas. Today, the vast majority of the population is bilingual. In 2010, more than 65% of the population in Miami-Dade County identified as Hispanic or Latino, Latina. And in the large municipalities of Doral and Hialeah,
that's where we're at.
the figure is 80% and 95% respectively. Of course, identifying as Latina, Latino is not synonymous with speaking Spanish, and language loss has occurred among second and third generation Cuban Americans. But the point is that there's a lot of Spanish and a lot of English being spoken in Miami.
Yeah, like my Spanish is not the best, but like I can speak Spanish, and my son understands Spanish because Mima only speaks him in Spanish, but he'll only answer in English. And he's like, I don't know Spanish. I was like, but you do know Spanish because you understand everything Mima's telling you.
Yeah.
And we'll ask him, like, what's this word in Spanish? And he'll say it, but he just doesn't feel comfortable speaking it, Spanish.
Right.
It's
a struggle.
It is.
It is a struggle. We've talked about it before, how like, especially like when you think of like the family unit and how the village was involved a lot of the time. And I mean, I could speak to this in terms of like even just my siblings, like noticing that my sister, who's 12 years older than me, but had children very young, she had them at like 20, 21. there was a lot of more family members around and involved that spoke
In the raising
Spanish
of
and
those kids.
the raise and involved in the raising of those kids. So it's really difficult, to kind of assume that that's the same for every family. It does change a lot. The dynamics change. And I feel like that family involvement really does make a difference when it comes to, having them put forth that extra effort into speaking Spanish.
Yeah. Among this mix are bilinguals. Some are more proficient in Spanish and others are more skilled English speakers. Together, they navigate the sociolinguistic landscape of South Florida in complex ways, knowing when and with whom to use which language and when it's okay to mix them. The Spanglish.
Right.
Everybody using that Spanglish.
Yep. Especially when we're comfortable with one another.
Yeah.
But I feel like I do it a lot all the time. Like if I'm around other people who don't speak Spanish, as long as there's someone involved that does speak Spanish, and sometimes I find myself like I'll also translating it because I can't help but say it, and then I realize that there's people around who don't understand it. So then I say, explain
Make
it to
sure
them.
they want to. They don't feel like
Get in on that.
When the first large group of Cubans came to Miami in the wake of the revolution, they did precisely this in two ways. First, people alternated between Spanish and English, sometimes within the same sentence or clause all the fucking time. This set the stage for enduring presence of Spanish vocabulary in South Florida, as well as the emergence of some people referred to as Spanglish.
There's a whole Adam Sandler movie about it too.
Second, as people learned English, they tended to translate directly from Spanish. These translations are a type of borrowing that linguists call calques. Calques or
calques are all over the English language. Take dandelion. This flower grows in Central Europe, and when the Germans realized they didn't have a word for it, they looked to botany books written in Latin where it was called dens leonis, or lion's tooth. The Germans borrowed that concept and named the flower, oh my gosh,
Lovenzahn.
A literal translation of lion's tooth. The French didn't have a word for the flower, so they too borrowed the concept of lion's tooth, calculating it as dent de lion, the lion. The English, also not having a word for this flower, heard the French term without understanding it and borrowed it, adapting dent de lion into English, calling it dandelion. Dandelion.
Dandelion.
Oh,
so that's where the name dandelion came from. A new lingo emerges. This is exactly the sort of thing that's been happening in Miami. As a part of my ongoing research with students and colleagues in the way English is spoken in Miami, I conducted a study with linguist Kristen del Alcerrando Mary to document Spanish origin calques. I don't know if I'm saying that word right.
I know, me neither. I have no clue.
In the English spoken in South Florida. We found several types of loan translations. There were literal lexical calques, a direct word-for-word translation. For example, we found people to use expressions such as get down from the car instead of get out of the car. This is based on the Spanish phrase bajar de carro.
Right.
See? That's why you thought get down from cars, bajar de carro. But the right way would be get out of the car, which translates for speakers outside of Miami as get out of the car.
Yeah.
But bajar means to get down. So it makes sense that many Miamians think of exiting a car in terms of getting down and not getting out.
Words.
Word to our mothers or Spanish Cuban. Okay. Locals often say married with, as in Alex got married with Jose, based on the Spanish casarse con, literally translated as married with. They'll also say make a party, a literal translation of the Spanish hacer una fiesta.
Oh, gotcha. It's funny because growing up, my mom would call it pullover, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a pullover. And I was like, oh, it's a t-shirt in Spanish is pullover. It's fucking not.
No, it's not.
My mom was saying the word pull over in a Spanish accent. So that was very much some clarification for me growing up. We also found semantic calques or loan translations of meaning in Spanish. Carne, which translates as meat, can refer to both all meat or to beef, a specific kind of meat. We discovered local speakers saying meat to refer specifically to beef, as in, I'll have one meat empanada and two chicken empanadas. And then there were the phonetic calcs, or the translation of certain sounds. Thanks God.
Thanks God.
Thanks God. A type
Thanks
of loan
God.
translation from gracias a Dios is common in Miami. In this case, speakers analogize the S sound at the end of gracias and apply it to the English form. Thanks God.
That's why they
That's why they say that. Yeah. The Miami-born adopt the calcs. We found that some expressions were used only among the immigrant generation. For example, throw a photo from tirar una foto.
Throw a photo?
As a variation
People
of
say
take
that?
a photo.
People say throw a photo.
I mean, it
haven't
made
heard that
sense to
one.
me.
I haven't heard that one though.
But other expressions were used among the Miami-born, a group who may be bilingual but speak English as their primary language. It's funny because sometimes I'll be talking to my mom and I won't, there's certain words that are more difficult in Spanish and I can't just think off the top of my head what the word is. So I've been talking to her about the insurance and I would call a public adjuster. I was calling him ajustador and she would crack up because ajustador means bra in Spanish. But I'm like, Mom, I don't know what is the word? And she's like, well, beats the fuck out of me. I don't know what the word for that is. That's not something that's like used in the Spanish language. Public adjuster is an American thing. That's not like something that they have back, in Cuba. So we really didn't know. So I kept saying it and she kept saying, I'm going to let you say it that way because I can't correct you. I don't know what the right word is, but I'm going to laugh every time you say it. So anyways.
Oh my goodness. In an experiment, we asked Miamians and people from elsewhere in the US to rate local expressions such as married with alongside the non-local versions like married to. Both groups deemed the non-local versions acceptable. But Miamians rated most of the local expressions significantly more favorably than folks from elsewhere.
How funny.
Language is always changing, is practically a truism, but most people know that Old English is radically
Oh my
different
God, crazy. Have you read
from modern English.
Shakespeare?
Yeah. Very different from modern English, or the English in London sounds different from English in New Delhi, New York City, Sydney, and Cape Town, South Africa. But rarely do we pause to think about how these changes take place or to ponder where dialects and words come from. Get down from the car, just like dandelion, is a reminder that every word and every expression have a history.
I love that article. That is so, because
that was fun.
We really, honestly,
I felt very seen.
Yeah,
we really studied the way we talk down here.
Exactly, and it's funny because it comes up often. People hear my accent, and sometimes since people are not around from here, they don't really know where I'm from. But they're like, she has an accent.
Yeah.
And so then, they start poking around and asking, and a lot, not a lot of people, unless you're from here, can really say Miami. So that's very interesting. And how when we, come together, how things change.
It is really funny.
I bet you that's how like patois got started too, like a Haitian language, like how what they speak, because that's like a mixture of French and English too, I believe, or something like that. But that was very interesting.
It was. So before we get into our interview,
we have arrived
to our high checkpoint.
So you just took another hit from that too.
I wanted to finish it.
I know.
It was at
I have some there I have to finish.
It was very nice.
Though these papers are not too great.
I mean, I rolled a really small J.
I rolled these papers and they constantly turn off. I'm not.
What is this?
I've never seen those before. Pretty High Club. We got these in our
in the goodie bag.
Yeah. So, but I would say I really like this. It doesn't just like how the description said, like it keeps you kind of alert. It doesn't really drag you down. It doesn't give you that sleepy after feeling. Like I feel this is it's a nice daytime strain. What is it? 1 through 5? Are we still doing the 1 through 5?
1 to 5.
Feeling, I mean, it really depends what you're going for. It's daytime. We're working. It's good for me. So I would say I will give it a 4 overall for extended
anything
effects.
That's gonna make me giggle like that. I'm gonna give it a 5.
So does that mean you give me a 5 too? I make you giggle.
Maybe.
Come on. All right, so a 5 for the extended effects on the doggy bag?
It's nice. Even though I would like to. I rolled a very small joint. I would smoke more.
Well,
That's the thing. I could be a little higher.
but you've had plenty of time to get to know the doggy bag, so
I guess I giggled it off for a
well,
little bit.
there you go. Hey, we've come to the also past our checkpoint. This is our interview checkpoint. We had a really, really wonderful conversation with someone who's well known in the cannabis industry, Lauren Mundell. She left her powerful New York City career as a wellness marketing and PR expert in 2018 when she got excited about the cannabis industry. And if you follow her, you know she's excited about the cannabis industry. The High Curious Content Marketplace helps cannabis brands tap into the rapidly growing creator economy and reach their target audience through social media and influencer marketing. We had a wonderful conversation with Auntie Lauren, as she's known in the industry. So we hope you enjoy it. Here it is.
To Auntie Lauren and High Curious and the pot smoking moms. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. To finally having Lauren on the show.
So happy to be here.
So Lauren, tell us about, first we like to ask all of our guests this. Tell us about how you first encountered cannabis and how you got into, being a cannabis enthusiast, consumer. How old were you?
So I didn't get a great hit, so I'm just gonna
No worries. I'm gonna do the same.
A wraparound. Like the old wraparound.
So I was gonna say actually at the beginning that, I'm about to turn 50. Next Monday I'm gonna be 50.
Oh,
And
happy birthday!
Thank you. And I started using cannabis when I was 43.
Oh,
So I've only been using cannabis for 7 years. And when I started using it, I had tried it in college. I was very nervous. I had a really bad experience, which I now know is kind of like my first anxiety attack. But I didn't know what that was then. And I just thought that's what weed made you feel like. So I was like, I do not want this. Who wants a panic attack, right? So when my husband retired from the Navy in 2017, and he was like, I can't wait to smoke weed. I mean, he hadn't in years since high school, or right after high school before he went into the military. And I was like, we're not doing that. And he's like, no, I am. I'm like, okay, fine. So I assumed that would just be a little fly by night thing that, he would just get over. But I saw how great he was and how happy he seemed. And I really wanted to tap into whatever that was. So I started off by you could call it microdosing or you could call it fear dosing. Because in my case, it was I was afraid to get too high. So I would be take a vape pen and be look at the clock, be 3:02 and 3:10, be how do I feel now? But after I finally got comfortable with it, I realized that it's a wellness supplement. And I was a wellness marketer working in New York City for some of the biggest companies in the world. And I was like, why isn't anyone talking about cannabis as a wellness supplement? You only hear about it as this recreational drug or about the fact that it cures cancer. There's nothing in between. And so I got out of corporate PR to come into the cannabis industry to spread that message. And here we are.
Yeah, it's
so
funny.
Within 7 years, from within 7 years of using cannabis, she's like, "It not only am I a cannabis enthusiast and consumer, I'm now in the industry and started curious and really gone in it." Wow!
So Jay,
how did you make that decision to switch over to cannabis? What made you decide that?
I don't know. Seriously, if I could go back, I would probably be cool your jets, bitch. You could wait a couple more years and take this salary a little while longer while the cannabis industry, gets its act together on the one hand. But on the other hand, I would never be in the position that I'm in if I hadn't left when I left. So I don't even look back. But when I came out, I was living in New York and I came out to visit a friend in Colorado and we went to a dispensary here. and I saw some of the products, and I was like, as a person who loves like the CPG, the consumer packaged goods industries, right? So like food, beauty, wellness products. I was like, an entire new industry is coming that no one has like even touched. And that is so cool. And I want to be a part of it. And that is really why I did it. And it was because like maybe 10 years prior to that, I had wanted to get into fitness and like be kind of at the beginning of fitness, in like the 2008, 2009 world, when fitness was really still like, people were like, you're going on a vacation to like work out? Like that, people looked at me like I was crazy for that. And now it's like everyone's going on like a wellness, trip or whatever. So I was like, I'm not going to miss my chance again. And I got really excited about cannabis. And here I am. I left my job in New York City and moved to Colorado. And we've been here almost 4 years. So it's been great. It's been hard.
Can I ask you this? What you're coming from the wellness, like the supplement industry? Okay. Yeah.
Well, a combination of, I guess, what you would consider wellness. So basically, my job at the agency where I worked was to take companies and help position them as wellness products. So for example, Splenda. You might argue that Splenda is a wellness product, which it absolutely is, especially because it has 0 calories and it's great for people who have diabetes. It's also, but there's the other side of it. So that was our job, as well as I worked on Weight Watchers for 7 years. Prior to that, I worked on Bertolli, Slim Fast, Lipton. I worked on a whole bunch of different Pfizer businesses. So Advil, Centrum, Emergency. I worked in a whole bunch of PepsiCo business, like Frito-Lay stuff. So yeah, that was my life.
Can I ask you this? What, coming from all of that background and into the cannabis industry, like you said, it being so brand new, what are the major differences? Like, what can you know what I'm saying? Like, what did you get in one that is totally different than the other?
Well, this is a really funny story. So when I left Ketchum, the public relations agency where I worked, I had a meeting that was set up for me by somebody who had a cannabis client that was willing to introduce me to this person in common. And they were looking to do an event, and it was MJ BizCon 2018. And they wanted to do an influencer event. And so I came to them with a $90,000 budget. And they were like, we were thinking $5,000. It's like, so I guess like if you, like, it's been over the course of the past, 4 years, really changing my mindset from helping some of the biggest companies in the world to being a very small company, and to helping small companies on a smaller scale with budget, from a budget standpoint, from a capability standpoint, because cannabis can't really do what the mainstream can.
Right. I mean, those their footprint is huge. Like, cannabis is still, I mean, even the small businesses, they're still competing with one another, and it's pretty cutthroaty to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it's the long game, and you think of all the brand, because it's so exciting to like see new products and stuff coming out, and like you try a product and you think it's a good product, and you root for it, and sometimes you root as much as you can for that product. The market's just not right, or it's oversaturated. And it's so crazy to think that even in such a new market, there could be oversaturation.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I just got back from MJ Unpacked, and one of the things that we were, saying in a loving but joking way is that like everybody has the same 5 products: a vape cart, a pre-rolls, some sort of topical,
Gummy.
and a gummy,
Love it.
right? And then maybe they have one SKU of each, or maybe they have 3 SKUs of each or whatever, but it's some variation on the exact same theme. And, what's inside the same shit, it's just a different packaging, And so I think it is cutthroat because of that. It's like, what makes a brand? It's hard to,
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's like they do get out in the end because really, at the end of the day, what can a cannabis brand be in a market that is still kind of like it's still being over policed? It's still, federally regulated.
Running in like
So,
a
like,
gray
you can't,
area because of the fact
yeah,
that it's
so like,
federally illegal.
yeah, so you can, but you can't, and then it's kind of all over the place. Do you see any specific thing that's trended over the course of the last 4 years that you can expect to be like that has been consistent?
I mean, the only constant is change. And I think that recently, we're seeing the states on the East Coast kind of acting in this very, I don't know, gangstery sort of way. That is, leading to, I don't know, a lack of transparency, a lack of accountability, sort of and leaving the customer or the consumer or the patient really like out of the conversation.
When it comes to transparency, right, and trying to meet the patient, because I mean, here when we speak here in South Florida, like it's still medical, but right, whether it's the patient or the customer, what do you think cannabis companies should do in order to show transparency, in order to show that they're working for the patient? Like, what do you think those standards or guidelines should be for those people who are trying to really be consumer first? Because I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, brands who are patient focused.
I think that a company, let's just say there's like a new big company that crops up, or let's just say one of the companies that already is out there really wants to change its image, right? It could start doing everything from a transparency perspective. That means and investing absolutely first in research, using all of their products to fund research on the medicinal side, on the recreational side, and then publish the research results that they get, and obviously hire awesome lab technologists and scientists to help, break new ground in cannabis, to like bring more people in, and also to show that there is a way to do this right. And the answer is ethics and caring about the customer, and actually caring about what do you want them to say about you in 50 years? Like, you saved lives, like you changed the game in mental health, or your company, whatever, not just like you got people the highest.
Big cannabis companies do a thing where they get so big that they price out the smaller companies, and then they throw their hands up in the air and close down and leave people out of jobs and go, oh, whoops, well, which is like something that's like, oh, well, but this is your fault. Like, this is a problem you created, What, like, for instance, that in the article that you wrote, you talk about major cannabis companies all using one public relation company, which
Makes no
Captain
sense.
J were talking before you got on, and she made the point of like, well, Pepsi would never use the thing that Coca-Cola uses, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and that was the point that I was making in the article, and it would be even if let's just say Coca-Cola and Pepsi wanted to use the same public relations agency, which would be counterintuitive and productive for them, they still would have things in place and bigger teams. But we're talking about an agency that has 60 people and that most of their revenue comes from these 4 clients. So that means, and then they're also, so like a lot of other, like let's just say you were a public relations agency for PepsiCo. PepsiCo might have 6 public relations agencies that they're working with, right? Right. That's just public relations agencies. They might have 50 advertising agencies, 100, shopper marketing agencies, all these different companies that they work with. But in cannabis, we're talking about very small company in the grand scheme of things. We look at their stocks, right? Very small companies that don't have budgets for all these different types of agencies that could stay agnostic from one another. So, they're all paying 60 people. Oh, hey, it's just me. They're all paying 60 people to, to tell their stories and to do their work. And that I just feel like, in Rosie's defense and in the defense of Matteo Communications, they've been in business now for, I think, 9-10 years. She started in Washington. All these people were her friends and she was the only game in town. And that made sense then. But now it doesn't make sense anymore. It's putting all the power in one basket.
Do they just do cannabis like marketing?
For the most part, they have a few alcohol clients and maybe a couple other things, but mostly cannabis. Yeah.
That's so interesting. And I feel like it's a big conflict.
They want to be positioned in that place, but I think anyone in this industry who says they're like really making a lot of money on just cannabis marketing is lying.
Oh my God. Well,
a lot of money.
Well, there's a lot of regulations around cannabis marketing. They're not technically really allowed to market cannabis in most states, right? Like there's a lot of they gotta kind of like, oh, it's not really marketing, it's outreach or
but marketing is everything from the conferences that you go to the podcasts that you sponsor, to the advertising that you put out, to the event, events that you put your name on, everything that you are doing outwardly facing is really marketing,
They just can't do advertisements. Like they can't put ads out.
Correct. Not over the traditional ways, but the cannabis industry definitely has the ways to get the advertising out there. It's expensive and it's challenging, but it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they mostly put their money in? Because at the end of the day, I feel like, I know that they do put a lot of stuff into events. Have you recognized maybe one they put their marketing dollars in one of those areas the most?
Well, I love Blunt Brunch and Adelia and all the stuff that those women are doing. But if you look at the top of their sponsor list, it's Curaleaf. And I'm always thinking, how, of course they need Curaleaf in order to be able to make Blunt Brunch affordable for the women who want to be able to come to the events and make them be able to make money. But on the other hand, this is what, how Curaleaf kind of keeps things quiet. And this is kind of, I was just on this other podcast and this is what I was talking about, which is if the problem is that they're the only ones with the money, so nobody can talk shit about them, mm-hmm. right? So there's nobody that's like, corroborating the stories, or there's so many people that DM'd me from my article saying, I can't like your post, or I can't comment on your post, and here's why, but I want to tell you thank you so much, or here's some additional information that you didn't have, or keep digging, you're on the right path. People who used to work at Matteo, people who used to work at Green Market Report, people just who, have worked with them before and know how things work. And, it's upsetting that they have, and when I'm not trying to say they, Matteo Communications, I'm saying these powerful MSOs have a stronghold on the rest of the industry because, like, let's just say ancillary brand, okay? What do I want? Wholesale, okay? Who can provide wholesale that's actually going to move the needle on my ancillary product? 5 or 7 companies in the entire country. So I'm going to piss those people off. 4 of them are at this same public relations agency. So let's just say that TrueLeaf and GTI were at 2 different public relations agencies, and they both have some negative news going on. You better believe that it's a lot harder to hide negative news when there's 2 different public relations agencies managing it. Because there's going to be some gossipy person who's like, I heard this thing. Let's try to fan the flames a little bit, right? That's how it works. There's literally no competition. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that we all have, is that we're like racing to the bottom with products and everything because of trying to drive the dollar down. But it's really, we should have more. If there was more competition, if there was better products out there, better dispensaries, more choices, they could charge more for that, right? For good product.
They do.
Right.
They're trying to stronghold it here with one of the major companies. It's Curaleaf for you guys out there. It's TrueLeaf. I mean, Curaleaf is here too, but TrueLeaf is bigger than Curaleaf, I would say, right?
Right. Curaleaf isn't in Colorado. TrueLeaf has products in Colorado, like Colors and Evo Lab and a few others, but no dispensaries here.
Also, TrueLeaf has products in other dispensaries out there.
Correct. So TrueLeaf bought Colorado brands that already existed, and now they own it, which means that they can expand those brands into other of their.
And that's why we don't see brands here. They're only out there in Colorado. We don't see those here in Florida.
Not yet, at least.
Well, I don't know. We don't go to TrueLeaf.
Right.
We've stopped.
I mean,
a while back.
And Curaleaf is big in like California, right? What market are they?
Curaleaf is out of California, and so is TrueLeaf. But the biggest markets for Curaleaf are like New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut. Yeah, that sort of area. Mm-hmm.
Were they in California and they left?
Mm-hmm.
Why were they in California and it did?
Because people understand quality. After all these years of being legal, people are starting to understand quality in California, and it's a much more mature market, and people aren't willing to buy corporate mids. I know. So, I mean, it does flow that if we just bide our time, in 10 years, everybody will be in good shape and we'll have, a healthy market. But we can
good
still
weed everywhere. Good weed for everyone.
Woo! But not with Tim Rivers and not with all these baddies.
Well, but also good weed for everyone, but also let everybody grow that shit. I am so opposed to a big guy coming and saying, hey, you know what? We should have recreational, but you shouldn't grow this.
Well, that sounds like your governor.
They don't want he doesn't want recreational at all.
No,
yeah, and
he wants to be the president of the world.
Please don't get us started on him, because we will.
No, I don't want to press. I'm already depressed enough.
I know, and it's been a tough last couple of weeks over here.
I started smoking weed like literally right after Trump was elected. It was like it was actually like so coincidental, and thank God, because I don't think I could have survived.
Thank God.
Can I say?
It was quite a time.
Hey, Lauren, can I say that same election we got medical marijuana, and I was just like, oh my God, we're gonna need all that medical marijuana where we're going. And it was insane, because I was like, I can't believe that we got weed here. I was very shocked I was shocked about the Trump thing, but not as much because of South Florida, because
We
it's
got
Florida.
weed, but
Like,
we
what do
didn't have
you?
smokable weed for a while. I didn't get my card until smokable weed was available. Because before it was only like concentrates and carts, and I'm like, nah, I don't do dabs. They didn't even have edibles. Edibles came even after the smokable cannabis. But tell us all about High Curious and
Okay, let
how
me
High
see another
Curious came
bit.
to be. And
Yeah, what your plans are? What you guys are changing a lot, growing.
Yeah, we just did a big change. I hope you guys will take another look at us and think about coming on board. So hit time. Hold on.
No worries.
Yeah. I'm pretty lit. Does it matter how long the chamber of it is and how long it takes for the smoke to get to you and how high you get? Is that
Probably.
all those? Does all that matter?
like, are you trying
We
to
should-
say do like longer chambers, longer bongs, like have a
Yes,
Less
yo.
high?
shorter ones?
Hey,
I think that
Mythbusters.
it
What was
makes
it?
your lungs hot.
Spliff Busters. We should do a Spliff Busters where we test different bong lengths, and then we see if it matters.
But we're going to be so high after the first two pulls that we're not going to be able to tell
Like,
the
how do
difference.
you properly test that? We would have to space it out enough
to wait
time
2 hours.
between bong rips to make sure you're not that high anymore from the
You're
other
right.
bong rips.
All right.
That's
So
a
let's
good
talk about High
factor.
Curious.
Yeah, High Curious.
We should test that.
So
High Curious.
So in 2019, April, I started building the High Curious app that you guys came to know. And it got approved in April of 2020. But as over the course of the past few years, I've learned that having an app is extremely challenging, very expensive, and doesn't really make money unless there's a real business model behind it. So this summer, I pivoted to become a content marketplace where we connect content creators, influencers, freelancers, social media managers with cannabis brands who need content marketing. So the way we make money on the platform is by off of the transaction. So we keep 30% of all transactions, but our job is to help cannabis brands come up with their marketing, and then we introduce them to the creators that can create the solutions that we've come up with. So for example, if they need to turn on their Instagram, we're going to introduce them to Crystal, and she's going to help them make 30 pieces a month and be in their stories and make them reels and all this kind of stuff. If they're looking to reach cannabis people in South Florida, I would recommend they work with you and sponsor the podcast or one of your weed crawls or something like that. So the idea is to build a large network of great people for brands to connect with and pay, and for us to just be the middleman that helps make the work happen. So the way the platform works now is great. You come on. We're not on the App Store anymore. We are left Apple. We're just at highcurious.com. You can come on. You can search for creators in your state or a certain number of followers if that's something that you're looking for. You can actually chat directly with creators right there on our platform, talk about your requirements, send links back and forth, and as well pay by debit and credit. And then we pay the creators by the 10th of the following month that they're paid in. So that's how it all works.
And
Cool.
and how many like different brands do you guys work with right now? How many people do you have?
So we have about 15 clients that we have on board right now. I'm pitching all the time. So really my job is getting on the phone with clients, listening to their marketing challenges and coming up with solutions. So, and then, so, which I love, which is great. And then, so then I can find the right people for them. And I'm not gonna lie, like it's been slow. Like it is hard to get cannabis brands to pay for marketing. You guys know, right? I mean, it's really challenging, and I think it's a combination of new to the market. Is it worth it? We've been burned before. This doesn't work, but that's because nobody's done it in a strategic way where they've thought about what are my real goals and what is it going to take for me to reach those goals and who are the people that are going to help me reach those goals. It's just like somebody pitches them some idea to sponsor a 420 event and they're like, okay, that sounds good, because they don't know anything about marketing.
It's still such an early market. It's like people don't know what to do. I don't know that they even know what the market value is on certain things. So it's like, I feel like too, people have to be a little bit stronger with their boundaries. I think a lot of creators kind of
Ben
jump the gun. Yeah, and then they overcommit, and then they see how much, work is involved
for low budgets.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's crazy out there. And CBD companies, oh my God, don't even get me started on CBD companies and like their marketing tactics.
We'd love to send you this. All we ask is for a story, and it's like
I literally
all we ask is for your firstborn.
I wrote an article
every day on Reels.
This is going to be my article that is coming out on, I think it's coming out on June 1st, and I already wrote it, but because it's about 3 truths that cannabis creator or content creators want you to know. And one of them is how much it costs to make content. So I put out I just put a minimum, like they have to have a call with you, client, and figure out what the fuck you want. And then they have to pitch. Then they have to come up with the idea. Then they have to get dressed and set up a shoot space. And they have to do it however long it takes to get the right shoot. Then they have to edit it. And I'm like, minimum 6 hours, minimum, right? For one piece of content. And okay, so how much is that worth, right? How much do you want to get paid for 6 hours of your time for something that you're expert at?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, then it starts to say, well, because it's, I think to your point, Sunny, is that we undervalued this for such a long time. Like through all of us learning how to make content, we learned by giving away content, right? But now that we have a platform that people want to, tap into, we have to figure out, as you said, boundaries and what our worth is, and what we can drive and what, yeah.
And that was our interview with Lauren Mundell, founder of Hi Curious. Please follow her on TikTok and on Instagram. She's at hi.curious. On LinkedIn, follow her there. She puts out a newsletter, and it's really, really interesting. And she gets a lot of people stirred up in LinkedIn. She's Lauren Mundell on LinkedIn. And then please go over to hi-curious.com. And, if you're a content creator in the cannabis industry, this is a good platform for you to get started in. Or even if you have an audience already, go over there, and they've got a lot of events. And hey, man, it's another cannabis community. We love them. So go check them out.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun talking to Lauren, and we're even talking about planning a meetup out in Colorado with her. So we're looking forward to hanging out with her.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that as well.
For that.
So we've reached the end of the show.
Hey, yeah.
We should have a little, we've reached the end of the show, like little song, not at the end of the show.
All right. I'm down for another song. But we thank our patrons. We love you. We can't say it enough. All of you, including Destiny,
Christy,
Denise,
Peaches,
Meredith,
Natalie,
Angelina,
Jenny,
Catherine,
Jay,
Chrissy,
Jesse,
Diane,
Gabby,
and Leslie.
Woo woo.
Woo woo. Hey, you too can have your name read on our show by becoming a patron. You get early access of episodes, full uncut versions of our interviews, access to our Discord server, which is awesome. And we got a lot of trips, boats, blunts, and bitches or whatever we're happening.
That's our next one coming up in July.
And these is not like an open event to the public. This is really just stuff that we do for our patrons.
The boat day is for our patrons, but we'll probably open up, maybe meeting up at the beach.
Oh,
the
okay.
day, if anybody locally wants to
Yeah.
meet us up on the beach that Saturday before,
You know,
we got to talk about that with our patrons that are coming. We'll
stay
see.
tuned.
Stay tuned.
Subscribe, rate, review, and share our content. Potsmokingmoms.com is a website. We love you.
See you next week.
See you next
Bye.
week.